Somewhere in America this weekend, somebody is going to pay 50 cents for a lure that is worth $2,000. They will not know it. The seller will not know it. But you will. Because today we are counting down 9 old fishing lures that have quietly become some of the most valuable pieces of Americana you can still find at a flea market. Number 9, the Southbend Bass-Oreno. Let's kick things off with a name almost every American fisherman knows. The Southbend Bass-Oreno. The Southbend Bait Company was founded around 1909 in South Bend, Indiana, right in the heart of the Midwest. These were working men building lures for working men who loved to fish. The Bass-Oreno was one of their most popular designs. A chunky wooden plug with a distinctive curved lip that gave it that irresistible wobble in the water. Now, most Bass-Oreno lures you will find at a garage sale are worth just a few dollars. But certain early versions, especially those with rare color patterns known as rainbow or hard-to-find two-tone finishes, can command prices between $50 and several $100 depending on their condition. The key is the box. If you find one with its original cardboard box still intact, that changes everything. Number 8, the Pflueger Neverfail Minnow. Number 8 takes us to Akron, Ohio, in a company called the Enterprise Manufacturing Company. Most people know them today as Pflueger. Pflueger made everything from reels to rods, but their early minnow lures are what serious collectors chase. One model in particular, the Neverfail Minnow, was produced in the early 1900s and was designed to swim through the water with a lifelike wiggle that fish simply could not resist. The name Neverfail was a bold promise. And for a lot of fishermen at the time, it delivered. What makes early Pflueger lures so valuable is their construction. These were carefully painted by hand, with glass eyes that give them an almost alive quality even 100 years later. Early examples in good condition regularly sell for $100 to $400. Find one still in its original tin container and you are looking at a whole different number. Number 7, the Shakespeare Revolution. Now we are heading to Kalamazoo, Michigan, in the Shakespeare Bait Company. William Shakespeare Jr., and yes, that was really his name, founded his company in 1897 and became one of the most innovative fishing tackle manufacturers in American history. His first lure was called the Revolution, introduced in 1900, and it was unlike anything on the market at the time. A spinning bait that anglers in Michigan swore by for bass, pike, and muskie. It was the lure that put Shakespeare on the map. Then in 1905, Shakespeare acquired the patents of lure designer Fred Rhodes, and that is when their iconic wooden minnows with glass eyes began to appear. Collectors go wild for early Shakespeare Revolution lures and the Rhodes wooden minnows because they represent the very beginning of American fishing tackle manufacturing as an industry. Early examples in good condition can fetch anywhere from $100 to $500, with the rarest pre-1910 pieces pushing even higher. Number 6, the Foss Oriental Wiggler. At number 6, we have a name that takes a lot of fishermen straight back to their childhood, Foss. Foss was a tackle maker out of Cleveland, Ohio, who created something called the Oriental Wiggler, also known by many as the Shimmy Wiggler. These lures were made through the 1920s and 1930s and were designed to be used with a strip of pork rind attached to the back. That combination made them absolutely deadly on base. What is fascinating about Foss lures is the sheer variety. He made dozens of sizes and colors, and the collector community has cataloged them in extraordinary detail. Certain rare color combinations and early versions with specific markings can sell for well over $100. A complete set? That is a serious investment. We are halfway through the list and things are about to get interesting. Number 5 is the Creek Chub Pikie Minnow. The Creek Chub Bait Company was started around 1906 in Garrett, Indiana, by Henry Dills and Karl Heinzerling, 2 men who believed they could build a better lure. And they did. The Pikie Minnow became one of the most imitated lures in American fishing history. A slim wooden plug with glass eyes and a curved lip that gave it a side-to-side swimming action that looked exactly like a real baitfish darting through the water. What collectors love about Creek Chub lures is those glass eyes. Early versions used actual glass eyes inserted directly into the wood, and those eyes give the lures a character and presence that modern plastic lures simply cannot replicate. Rare color patterns like the Pikie scale finish or early glass eye versions in original condition sell for $200 to over $500. And yes, the original box matters enormously here too. Number 4, the Heddon Lucky 13. Number 4 is one that might surprise people who are newer to lure collecting. James Heddon and Sons, based in Dowagiac, Michigan, was arguably the most important fishing lure company in American history. We will come back to James Heddon himself in just a moment. But first, let us talk about one of his company's most iconic designs. The Lucky 13 was introduced around 1920 and became a staple in tackle boxes across America for decades. It was a surface lure, meaning it worked on top of the water, and when retrieved correctly, it would spit and splash in a way that drove bass absolutely crazy. Here's where it gets interesting. Not all Lucky 13 lures are valuable. The standard production versions are common and easy to find. But certain color patterns, especially early versions with specific paint finishes and glass eyes, have sold for $200 to over $400. The difference between a common Lucky 13 and a rare one can sometimes come down to something as subtle as the color of the eyes or the exact hardware on the hooks. Number 3, the Moonlight Floating Bait. We are in the top 3 now, and from here on, every lure on this list has the potential to genuinely change someone's day when they stumble across one. Number 3 comes from the Moonlight Bait Company out of Paw Paw, Michigan, and the story behind it is one of the most unusual in all of American fishing history. Horace Ball and Charles Varney founded the Moonlight Bait Company in 1908. Here's the thing about these two men. They worked the day shift every day, which meant the only time they could ever get out on the water was after dark. So they did something nobody else had done. They built lures designed specifically for night fishing. Lures that actually glowed in the dark. Their very first product was a topwater lure called the Moonlight Floating Bait, introduced in 1909, and was unlike anything American fishermen had ever seen. Some of those original floating bait lures still glow today, over 100 years later. Moonlight lures are harder to find than Heddon or creek chub lures, which makes them particularly desirable to serious collectors. Rare early examples with original moonlight markings and unusual color combinations regularly sell for several $100s. Some of the rarest pieces have crossed the $1,000 mark at specialized tackle auctions. Here we go. Number 2 is one of the most iconic and beautiful fishing lures ever made in America, the Heddon Frog. James Heddon's company made many different lures, but their early frog-shaped wooden plugs hold a very special place in collector history. These were wooden lures painted to look like frogs, with hooks hanging from their sides. And they worked in a way no other lure could replicate when fished around lily pads and heavy shoreline cover. Early Heddon Frog lures with original paint, glass eyes, and correct hardware from the early 1900s can sell for $500 to well over $1,000. The condition of the paint is everything, because these lures were used hard in heavy cover. Finding one with the paint still intact is genuinely rare, which is exactly why they command the prices they do. And now, the one you have been waiting for. Number 1 on our list is the Heddon Dowagiac Expert. And the story behind this lure is one of the great American folktales. James Heddon was a beekeeper in Dowagiac, Michigan. The story goes that sometime around 1898, he was waiting to meet a friend at a local millpond and with nothing else to do. He whittled a small wooden plug and tossed it into the water. A bass hit it almost immediately. That moment, or so the legend says, changed fishing forever. Heddon went on to found the James Heddon and Sons Company and began producing his lure commercially, first calling it the Dowagiac Casting Bait, before eventually settling on the name that collectors know and chase today, the Dowagiac Expert. These early lures were carefully crafted wooden plugs with glass eyes and paint jobs that were remarkably detailed for their time. They were not cheap when they were new, and they are certainly not cheap now. The Dowagiac Expert is among the most prized items in all of American fishing tackle collecting. And here is a detail that tells you everything you need to know about how serious collectors are about this lure. The original white cardboard box it came in has sold for as high as $1,000. Without the lure inside, just the empty box. Find one with the lure still in it, in good condition, and you are holding a piece of American history worth several $1,000s. This is not just a fishing lure. It is a reminder that one ordinary man on an ordinary afternoon, accidentally invented something that millions of Americans would use and love for more than a century. So the next time you are at an estate sale, a flea market, or cleaning out a relative's old tackle box, take a second look at those old wooden lures. The cracked paint and rusty hooks might be hiding something far more valuable than anyone ever realized. If you enjoyed this video, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. We put out stories like this every single week. Stories about the things that were made in America, the people who made them, and why they still matter today.